go. Okay, so we're gonna have a food ASMR moment. I'm in New York City. Surprise! I'm in New York again. And this is my rainbow bagel. I've never had one before. I ordered this with Nutella and banana cream cheese. And I ordered it probably more so at like 10 o'clock this morning, and it is 1 p.m. But that's okay. I'm still gonna eat it. So you might be asking, Cassidy, what are you doing in New York? Well, it turns out I'm just living my Carrie Bradshaw life. My husband had to come here again for a couple days for a work thing, and he brought me along. So in that regard, I like to pretend like he's my Mr. Big, and I get to be Carrie Bradshaw for a couple days. So what does that mean? So today, we're at the Renaissance Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. I think I'm learning the geography of Manhattan very well since being here. We're not at the same hotel. We didn't really like the addition very much. We got sick there. So now we're at this Renaissance hotel, and so far so good. We are super close now. Like, we're super close to the Empire State Building, but we're also very close. We're in the garment district. So today I thought this would be my Carrie Bradshaw day. So I went shopping and I bought some stuff, and I will show you in a second, well, everything I bought. I also ended up going to Mood, the fabric store. And it's funny, it's like been a silly thing on my bucket list because I still sort of am, but I used to be very obsessed with the show Project Runway. I could not sew anything even if you asked me to, but I love watching that show. And like, there's a past version of me who really, really wanted to be a model back when I was a skinny mini thing and young. And I almost pursued that, but decided against it ultimately. But so fashion's been a big part of my life. I love clothes. I showed you guys the outfit check earlier. So this is my wacky outfit for today. Unlike Carrie Bradshaw, it is just now turning spring here, so I don't want to be going all out and showing too much. So I have my paperboy outfit on today. And yeah, so was dedicated as a shopping day. I did shopping this morning, and then I'm just gonna work the rest of the afternoon and write in the hotel. And then later on for dinner, I'm going to meet Douglas and his coworkers at an Italian restaurant. And then that's going to be today. And then tomorrow is going to be my Charlotte day. So I have different themes for different days. So Carrie's today, Charlotte's tomorrow. I'm going to be walking with Douglas to work and then kind of staying around his office place. His office place is kind of more over by, I think it's called Hudson Yard, but there's a bunch of art museums there. It's right above Chelsea, so I'm going to be sort of farting around the art museums there and maybe frequenting a couple of bookstores. We'll see how much I do. I didn't bring my sneakers this time. I just brought my boots, and I feel like that's a mistake because my feet already hurt, and I've only been shopping and walking for 2 hours. Granted, I never sat down, but I've only been shopping and walking for like actually 3 hours. Yeah, 3 hours. So maybe I'll hold up later on, but it's just hard because like I want to do so much. So we'll see. This is Carrie, and then tomorrow will be Charlotte, and then after that, we're headed back home. So yeah, this is my short little Sex in the City type vlog, and yeah, I hope you enjoy.
before you at this time. Join your hands. Repeat after me. We vow to be a group that loves one another, that champions one another, that grows with one another, and travels to Rome to eat the delicious food and see Sicily before the end of our times. Here we go. Here we go. There it is! Wedding Chapel of Love. To celebrate this most blessed union, this quadruple.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this makes sense. Like, I get it now. Damn, that's cool. Now he's got, like, dancers.
It's been a couple days since my trip. You may have noticed I got a haircut. So there you go. There is physical evidence of time passing. But yes, so I am back in Chicago. My New York trip was super fun. We were only there for like 2 days because like Douglas was working and I was just doing, my Sex in the City days. I hope you enjoyed the footage I took. I had a pretty good time. Normally when I go on these sorts of trips, I tend to avoid like big touristy areas or like congested areas. I know last time I went to New York, I think the most touristy thing I did was visit the New York Public Library because that was pretty busy too, but I was also there working at the same time. So that was a fun time. I would have to say the best part of my trip for me was definitely the Luna Luna exhibit. It was probably the best art exhibit I have ever seen in my personal life. It was just totally amazing. I just felt such a sense of whimsy and wonderment while I was there. And I really appreciated seeing this collaboration with so many different famous but marginalized artists. You could really feel like a sense of joy and resilience with each piece, even if like the best squat piece was like pretty in your face. Still, there was like, I don't know, like carrying on in spite of, if that makes sense. One of the things I didn't film, which I wish I would have had somebody to film for me, was a part where I was admiring like people who had the butterfly puppets. They were like butterfly puppets on this really big long silver wire that was attached to the performer's hips. There's a part where I was observing them and this woman comes up to me and she's clearly part of the show because of her like outfit, and she asked me if I could do her a favor, and I was like, oh my goodness, okay, yeah. And she had me hold this like felt flower wand really up high, and when I did that, like all the butterfly people started screaming, be like, "Oh my god, food!" And they like ran forward and was like playing with the flower, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I was beaming. I was so happy. And then she had me move it every which way, so like back and forth, up and down, and the butterflies would follow. And it was really really cute. And so like by the end, I said thank you to her because I thought it was like really cool. So like I was just happy to be able to be part of the show in some way and like I don't know, get picked from a crowd where like I don't think there was like necessarily a crowd because I went during the middle of the day and during a weekday, so it wasn't really that busy. I saw an advertisement where people were like crowd packed like corner to corner, so it was hard to see things. So I'm really grateful for the time that I went and there was just like kind of groups of people maybe. Most people were like in pairs or in like small groups, and then there was me by myself. But that's okay. But yeah, it was definitely one of the coolest exhibits I've ever seen. It was way worth the $40. I mean, I wish I could have stayed there even longer. It was so inspiring because lately I've been having a hard time wrestling with creativity, with politics, and different things going on in the world. And I just kind of want to reiterate this message that I'm sure you guys have heard like hundreds of times before, but like especially in these uncertain times, being creative is essential. When I was at this exhibit, it was like living proof of that. You know what I mean? One of the things one of the exhibits I really appreciated that I don't know if I highlighted very well in this vlog, but nonetheless, it wasn't like at the forefront and center of the exhibit, but it was kind of tucked away in the back where they had these like Roman pillars with pieces of poo on top. Like not real poo, but like these sorts of like gilded cartoony, I guess, pieces of poo. And when I was reading the plaque, it said that these were found kind of by the bathrooms when this carnival was up and running, as like a real installation that like kids could ride and all this stuff. So they put these columns by the bathroom, right? And then like one of them was, or like it was said that they actually like smelled, like they would put out an aroma or mist or something at different points of the day, to emphasize that nastiness, I guess. But the whole inspiration behind the piece was a mockery of Hitler because Hitler kind of idolized this like idea of a perfect society or a great society, right? And a lot of those people also look towards the Romans as like inspiration because that was a grand society, right, at one point in time. All these like political eugenics ass people are affiliated, like not affiliated, but they captured that image, right, for themselves and repurpose it as their perfect ideal of society, right? So Hitler very much did that, was inspired by that. Well, there are artists who did that, I believe, lost his parents during the Holocaust, right? And so much of this surreal, whimsical art was inspired by that, right? So that was his protest to something that Hitler idealized, right? And it just said it was like literally full of shit. So I love that, and I think that message really resounded. In the exhibit, they had like a timeline of art events or events that was like connected and inspiring for the artist in some sort of way, and a lot of them drew on this idea of magical realism within paintings, and that came about post World War II as people were trying to reconcile with what had happened, right? What had happened to them, what had happened internationally, all the death and tragedy that had come about, right? And so people were making art that reflected this like dreamlike state. And I was meditating on that. Well, not meditating literally, but like I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how there's so much like magical realism or surrealism. I don't know what the actual, I guess surrealism, present in some literature that I've been reading recently. A lot of like mainstream fiction people have incorporated horror elements or this like magical dreamlike state in their work. I talked about Bunny, but that is strictly horror. But even a piece like Chlorine, right? I think this has been marketed as fiction over horror, even though I would say with the amount of body horror in it, it could be labeled as a horror. But even that book incorporated this like this grotesqueness, but this like unsure state of consciousness, and like if this girl is really a mermaid or not, and this mental unwellness, right? I think that this new version of that is a result of everything that's been going on with the pandemic, or that happened during the pandemic, and now that we're living in a post-pandemic world where I where things are definitely uncertain and people are trying to rebuild their version of a perfect society through these proposed policies that once again really affect marginalized groups and their like presence in society. It's just weird to see history repeating itself and even repeating itself through art. So I don't really know what to do with that. But I thought I would present this perspective to you guys and just kind of tell you what I'm thinking about. I know lately I've really been inspired by this idea of clownery. Like, I don't write about clowns, like, it's not like literal like that, but like the idea of clownery and being a jester and the role of telling the truth through comedy and jokes. And it's something I've been thinking about for years, actually. If you like trace back my even my academic work way back when in grad school, way back when, because it's been like 5 years now, like I'm a different person. But even then I was talking about the role of like memes, comedy, and laughter, and the power of that in propaganda, basically, or like influence. And it's interesting to see how that's progressed even further now, not just through memes, but even through mainstream art, and like the power of comedy in politics, but just like coping with politics as well. I'm not really sure where to go with that. I have been telling myself that I think that embracing joy and whimsy and laughter in the space of this of this time is like a rebellious act. If anything, like I feel like this came about with like recent indie fashion as well. Like I've noticed that like when I was a teenager, being indie was defined by like basically Tumblr fashion, but lots of denim and like band t-shirts and like stuff like that. But now indie has been kind of taken on its own thing where it's more like crafty and colorful, or at least that's the kind of indie style that I really resonate with. And I think the idea of being contrarian, it doesn't have to be like what you traditionally think of like alternative people, but like indie people are more of like community oriented stuff, like independent artists, thrifting, small bookshops, like that kind of thing, which I think I definitely fall into. But it's this idea of like, I don't know, like maintaining joy because nobody else will. So I don't know what to do with that, especially as like an artist right now. Sorry, my phone died, so now the audio is gonna be weird. That was probably also my sign to stop rambling. But anyway, moral story: this art installation was super inspiring to me. I'm so glad I went. I'm so glad I saw it. If you're in the New York area till I think the 16th of March, they're still gonna put it on. I highly recommend you check this out. It was the best money I've ever spent. Wholeheartedly, I love this I love this installation. It's so cool. I'm also trying to sit with these themes that I've been talking about previously, and I wonder how I can expand it within my own work and like within my own personal vision of the world and how I see the world. I know there is a lot of humor in my work already, especially in my short story collections. There's this mix of like humor and horror. And so I'm wondering if I should try to lead more into the absurd, or if I should, instead of being strictly like supernatural and comedy horror, if I should probably lean into the whimsical, the surreal, the unexpected, just because I do feel like it's a reflection of the times, and that's like something I'm thinking about a lot, especially with like my cursed images work, is horror that reflects what's going on in a given time period. So I'm not sure. That's just kind of what I've been thinking about. So I'm going to end this video with a question for you guys. If you are a writer, an artist, or a creative, what is inspiring you right now? What is kind of keeping you going, keeping you motivated, really inspiring you and influencing your work as an artist? I'd love to hear that. I really want to connect with more creatives in my little digital community as well as in my personal life. So yeah, hit me up, let me know what's inspiring you lately. If you like this video, feel free to like it. You can also help me out by commenting down below. You could share this video with a friend or subscribe to the channel. Please, please, please. That would help me out a lot. And until next time, thanks. Bye.